The information provided on this podcast is intended to be educational and informational only and is not considered to be formal legal advice. The listener should not take or refrain from taking action based on its content. Any listener in need of legal opinion upon which to rely in decision-making should consider formally engaging an attorney to review relevant facts in detail and examine the pertinent law as it applies to those facts.
Welcome to Real Estate Milestones, where we explore fascinating topics in commercial real estate with knowledgeable industry experts. I'm your host, Ben Malik, and I'm a young real estate professional who is passionate about adding value to people's lives through the incredible power of real estate. My goal is to help you discover what the heck is going on in the industry and how you can get involved. This is Real Estate Milestones, where your future in real estate lies just around the corner. Hello, everybody. Today we have Shawn Sadler and Zach Reinhardt, who are the Chief Acquisitions Officer and the Chief Marketing Officer of Pocket Properties. Now, I'm super excited to have them on the show today because, as we all know, we're trying to figure out how to get started in real estate, and they're creating a pretty awesome platform, which we'll definitely get a lot into, called Pocket Properties, which the idea is to democratize real estate by allowing non-accredited investors or people like you and me who are starting out to start with $10 to invest in real estate. So I'm not the expert on this, so I'm gonna let them take it away, but can you guys start by introducing yourselves?
Yeah, I'm Zach Reinhardt. I'm the CMO of Pocket Properties app, and thanks again for having us, Ben. Looking forward to this conversation for sure.
Awesome, it's a pleasure.
Yeah, I'm Shawn. Also very thankful to be here. I'm the acquisitions officer at Pocket Properties. Kind of handle all the incoming traffic.
Sweet. Well, so before we get into the awesome app you got, let's start with what are your guys' first milestones in real estate?
Yeah, for me, it was really, I came from a background of more like just stock investing and crypto investing. And then I realized, I wanted to look for a safer way to invest my income, a little more less risky. So I looked to the real estate market, and I found a bunch of syndicate groups where you need a super high entry fee, and decided that wasn't the thing for me. So that was my first introduction to real estate. And then shortly after that, I came across the opportunity at Pocket Properties. So I took it and ran with it. So that's a little bit about my background. And then Shawn definitely has a super deep background with real estate. So I'm sure he could shed a lot more light on that.
Awesome.
Yeah, I would probably first say my first milestone was money. Didn't really have any of my own, didn't really know how to convince anybody to give me theirs. So that was probably the hardest part of all of it. So I had to figure out, what was the best way to get into this industry, create my own funds so that I can move further. And that's where really real estate education comes in. You gotta find out who the big players are in the game and kind of mimic what they do. So that's what I did.
Yeah, you don't have to reinvent the wheel because someone's invented it. But awesome. It still seems like you guys are, in a way, reinventing the wheel, or at least putting your own spin on it. So let's get into it. What is Pocket Properties?
Yeah, so Pocket Properties we're a technology company that our focus is to democratize real estate investing for everybody, just like you said earlier. So we really leverage the use of technology to make these real estate funds more efficient in their cap table management, X, Y, and Z, to really be able to onboard more capital for more and more people. So that, just in simple terms, that's what we do. Awesome. And Shawn, if you got any to add to it, sweet.
Yeah, awesome. Sweet. So I guess let's start by talking about where is the business now and where you guys intend to be. What's your next step after from where you are now?
So right now, just like anything else with a bootstrap company, your best way to get started and get active is with partnerships. And that's where we're at now, right? So we have a partnership with a few people that have given us our Reg CF license and the ability to, have the use of the back office, right? What we're doing now is developing all of that back end stuff in-house so that our platform is ready to launch on its own and able to automate all of these things for these fund managers. Then the next process would be getting our own Reg CF license and Reg D license and everything like that. That way we can further and build this big machine that we're after.
Awesome.
Yeah, and what the final form of that would look like, I'd say from a user perspective, is something similar to, a Webull or Robinhood, where you can go on and, select individual properties or a fund or a debt deal where you can, from a few taps of your phone, you can go invest in a super user-friendly way. So that's definitely the end goal.
Awesome. And I mean, that sounds really appealing to me because I have some money to invest. I have some money in stocks, but I don't have enough money for those, $50,000 minimum syndications, nor am I a accredited investor. So the idea of that you can start with $10 or anywhere up to, I guess, even up to those, larger minimums. But yeah, just the fact that
Don't-
it's a,
Don't get us wrong, like that'll never go away. We'll always have that engine for, Reg CF. So unaccredited investors can always play in this game. That was very important to us when we were creating this software, was that everyone deserves the right to invest in real estate, no matter how much money you have in your pocket, right? So that will always be available. We will also need to make it smarter and more efficient for these big high engine real estate people, so that that money does trickle down to the everyday investor.
yeah. And I love the idea. I heard this venture capitalist say one time that, the best businesses are the ones that take something that used to be reserved only for like the centimillionaires and billionaires and bring it to the rest of the population. Those were the best businesses are. And, Airbnb did that with second homes, and Uber did that with private chauffeur services. And you guys are doing that with the best wealth creation there is, which is investing in real estate and getting cash flow and diversifying your risk across, your portfolio and not just being in the stock market. So I love the fact that you're doing that.
Yeah, if I could add to that a little bit, it's like even going back even further in history, we see guys like Henry Ford. He didn't create the automobile. He just created an assembly line to make it more cost effective. And then he could lower the price of an automobile so that everyday person could actually purchase an automobile. So that's kind of like where we are, just trying to make things more efficient and allow more and more people to participate in.
Right. And building on that, we have, this emergence of blockchain technology, which everyone knows is kind of, it's pretty obvious now that it's here to stay, just because of the sheer power and applications of this technology, including smart contracts and then, isolated economies. But I guess I want to hear how blockchain technology, like what it means to your company and how you use it in the business.
So let's put it this way. The best way that I can kind of picture is if you were to walk into Walmart right now, the chances are of you meeting a cashier would be slim to none. They all have those kiosks right there, right? Where you can order all that stuff and your food's made, pick it up, and you walk out, right? It's to minimize the production line and make it more affordable for everyone, right? Using the blockchain solution means that we can rely on a smart contracts rather than people, lawyers, all this stuff, right? Also, in that same token, we can minimize costs, right? We don't have to pay those people because we don't have to use them. And then also at the same time, with the blockchain that we're choosing, we get to limit our costs, our fees on those transactions, right? So it's just full circle. It cuts out the middleman and it makes it person to person a little bit more easy.
Yeah. And I mean, I would to add to that, we have I think that just something so awesome about smart contracts are that, right now we have paper contracts and the way they're enforced is by people, right? We have to go bring this contract, get it notarized, bring it to a lawyer. And if there's ever bring it to a lawyer, write it up, bring it to a judge. And now if there's any discrepancies or if there's any, if one person in the contract doesn't hold up their end of the bargain, now you have to go to a judge and they have to interpret it and they have to figure out what's, how are we going to make this fair? With smart contracts, it's just in the contract, it's written, this is what happens when these certain things happen. And if those conditions are met, the outcome is inevitably happening. So you don't have to rely on a third party where you have to trust the contract. The smart contract we know will act how it says it's going to act. And now it's just up to you to hold up your end of the bargain. And that it's going to work out. So yeah, I mean, clearly blockchain has a lot of implications because now when you're only using $10, spending $450 on a lawyer obviously doesn't make sense. Right now, the $1 billion can spend that much on lawyers because they're putting in millions of dollars. But now we need like a cheaper alternative, and I think that's really where the power of smart contracts come in for you guys. You guys agree?
Oh yeah,
100%.
Awesome. So you guys are on the Algorand blockchain, which I've learned a little bit about. And it seems like a very powerful tool because of the lower fees, which we're talking about. It seems much cheaper than Ethereum, and has a lot more advantages. But I was wondering if you could tell us a little bit about that, and kind of talk about how Algorand works for your business, and also how Algorand works for the user in when they're using your product.
Yeah, and so like our CTO did a deep dive into a lot of different blockchain companies and technologies and protocols, and he really was passionate about Algorand for a number of reasons. Well, one being that they're ISO 2002 compliant, which is an SEC regulation where they cleared a couple of different blockchain protocols and payment processing protocols. I think Visa's on there as well, but Algorand was one of those 10. I believe there's only actually like 5 cryptos that have been approved for that. So Algorand is definitely the leader in that space for being SEC compliant, and that's something that we have to put an emphasis on. And then from a user perspective, they get to utilize easy to use smart contract capabilities and just the lower fees associated with, which we already touched on a little bit. So there's an endless list of reasons why Algorand's the perfect one. Another one is that they are super energy efficient. So they're also carbon negative, I do believe. So that their impact on the grid is very eco-friendly.
Yeah, that's awesome. I hadn't realized that, but that's definitely a cool advantage. I know it's a big talking point with regards to blockchain. So that's awesome. So I was wondering if you could walk us through what the typical user experience would be like. Or I guess before we go into that, can you talk about, the whole process? I guess, like, how do you guys find a deal? How do you guys bring it to the user? And then once you guys upload the deal, how does it work for the user?
So right now it's very hands-on, right? So I'll go out and find people that need to collect funding and everything like that. I'll talk to them. We'll work out a deal that works for them and that they believe will work for their investors as well. And then we upload that deal on the platform, obviously after signatures, all the formal details and everything like that. And then people will actually be able to invest in that fund, right? Well, as the money's coming in, the cap table will be kept, managed, so they'll know their percentage and everything like that, right? But in the subscription agreement they sign, everything will be laid out, basically how the fund will be divided, how everything will be paid out, when it'll be paid out, so on and so forth. And then once all the money is collected, the fund manager goes on about their business, whether, like, let's say they have 3 years with the fund or whatever, then they'll manage that money for 3 years, and then it'll close out, and then rinse, repeat, and do it again.
Awesome. Sweet. And then for the user, then when they see a deal uploaded, what's their process?
So
Yeah,
it's
go ahead, John.
go ahead. I mean, the way that we have it right now is completely bootstrapped. So I don't 100% love it, but where we're going with it is will be iconic, right? But you find the one that you want, you just click on it, and then you type in how many shares you want. And then, like, once everything is filled in, then we'll do a capital call. That's when we'll take all your funds and everything like that, and then issue it. Once we have this other platform built out, it'll be automatic, right? You push the button, it takes you to subscription agreement. You fill out the subscription agreement. It's emailed to you. Everything's uploaded, processed, filed. But all that's got to be built out, and that takes people 10 times smarter than me. So
Awesome.
Luckily, we have a couple of them on the team. So yeah, they're 10 times smarter than myself as well. So it's not just Shawn.
Yeah, well, it's awesome. And yeah, I mean, I think it's awesome that we're on this podcast right now where you guys are very early in the process, but I think everyone really is starting to see, like, the vision and how this is, like, a very powerful tool, and how, this could, blow up to be a huge deal if the smart people, I guess, do what they're intending to do. And obviously you guys have a big part of that too. So yeah, I mean, I think it's awesome that we're only talking about the beta, but we're already seeing how it can evolve into its final form. which will be really helpful for everyone. So I know that you guys are still early on the affiliate program, but I just wanted to bring that up because it sounds like you guys are intending to bring it back. But I just like, I know it's not live yet, and I'm sure everyone who's listening to this is like, when's that going to be live? But can you tell us like what you intend that to be and kind of like what you're thinking about from a high level?
Yeah, in the affiliate program, there's a reason that every company dealing with investments does it. It's because it's an effective way to acquire users for sure, and it gives the people an opportunity to speak on the product in a more familiar way, being able to reach influencers with that as well, people with large networks, and really spread the word of what we're building out here at Pocket Properties to give people an opportunity to invest in real estate in a way that they haven't before. So just getting as many people on that train as possible and being able to share our message is the main goal of that. So yeah, we're definitely looking forward to bringing that back. We actually do have our lead affiliate, JMac Investing. I'll shout out JMac. Definitely check out his YouTube channel after you subscribe to Ben's. Yeah, so JMac's been a beast, and he's brought us a bunch of users as well, and talks very positively about the project that we're building here. So just being able to have more partners in the networking space, just in general, is huge for a company. So definitely looking forward to expand on the affiliate program in the near future.
Awesome. And so where are you guys in terms of funding? I know obviously bootstrapping, but yeah, like can you kind of tell us about that process and like what your intentions are in terms of the milestones you're trying to reach in terms of growing in terms of funding and capital raising?
Yeah, so we're actually on that train right now. Of course, just like anything else, when Amazon was being built and he told everybody that he wanted to sell books online, everyone told him that he was an absolute nut, right?
Right.
So it's kind of the same thing here. When we tell everyone we want to take all of real estate transactions and put them on the blockchain, everyone goes, well, that'll never work. You know what I mean? So we're getting all those no's because we know that we're super early in it, but the detail right now is trying to find out the best way to explain it to where people aren't overwhelmed, right? The use of blockchain is just to minimize transactions, so we don't have to use ACH, right? That's the grand finale, and that's making it as easy as possible. That's why we're using blockchain, right? So once we get that message across that that's the use of it, then we probably should be coming into funding a little bit more easy and a little bit more regularly. I wouldn't say that we're far off of being funded. We have a lot of people in the pipeline, which is it's one of those things that it's 1, 2, 3 meetings, meet 4, 5, 6, 7 people, so just gotta make it through all the barriers.
Yeah. And I think I love speaking to people with audacious ideas. It's like, yeah, some people's like, this is never going to work because it's never worked for anyone else. But I mean, that shows you that, no one's tried it yet. It's a blue ocean of possibility where it's not even a competitive market. You're the only person competing and you're doing something new. And I definitely feel I'm one of those audacious people who want to, trailblaze, which you guys are definitely doing. So I'd say don't be discouraged. As you said, Jeff Bezos was called crazy at the beginning, but you see how that's gone. Awesome. So yeah, I mean, I think that I heard maybe it was the CEO of JP Morgan, but some big name said blockchain is really going to take off when people don't even know they're using it, right? Where it's not like, oh, invest in us because we're a blockchain company. No, like that's like kind of gimmicky. But for you, it's like we are using blockchain to its full potential and we have a new technology that allows new opportunities, and we're going to use this technology to provide a better service and to create more value versus just trying to use blockchain because it's blockchain, where that's clearly not the case from you. And I mean, there's a reason why your companies only started to, companies like yours have only started to take off as blockchain and the possibilities of blockchain are becoming more clear.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's I think it's gonna be cool when, people are going to go onto whatever website and it's going to inherently use blockchain, but it's not going to be like totally in your face where it's just like, no, we're doing this because it's better. Or like, I guess like the different, so I guess you guys also are familiar with Fundrise, which is another company that's, fractionalizing shares in real estate. But they aren't using blockchain to my knowledge. Is that correct?
That's correct.
Right. So can you talk about how like that, I mean, obviously the fees and the transferability, but in terms of liquidity of the shares. But can you kind of talk about how kind of like contrast what you guys are doing with Fundrise and how it's going closer to the idea of democratization?
So their model is identical to our Reg CF model, right?
Mhm.
It's basically for unaccredited investors, right? And the only downside with that is that the fee to store, manage, and withdraw money on a platform like that is highly expensive. On our platform, we have to charge 7.5% of whatever the fund value may be. If it's $250,000, that's almost 18 grand, right? We don't want to take that,
Right.
but we have to because those are the fees we have to pay. We ACH transfer, each one of those is $1. And if we're talking, we got to pay $1 for every $10.
Right.
That becomes pretty expensive, especially when you're trying to collect $250,000, right? So that's where blockchain becomes the solution, right? Now we don't have to charge as much because we don't use ACH, right? We don't have to charge you $1 for that because it's not even a penny. It didn't cost us a penny, right? So
Right.
That's the win there.
Yeah, that's a huge advantage, clearly. So that's really cool. And I guess last thing I want to talk about in terms of the business is you're intending to bring equity and debt funds onto the platform. So I guess I know that you have in your beta a kind of an example of a deal that will eventually be offered more. I guess it's actually a live deal. Can you kind of talk about this first beta deal? And can you talk about that?
Yeah, so like what goes into the beta deal is, so like from a borrower's perspective, let's say you want to renovate a property, you've been renovating properties for a while now, and you have a successful track record. So from a borrower's perspective, you'd fill out an application, give us kind of a little bit of your history, and then you put up the project proposal with all the key details associated with it. And those key details are what our users use to decide whether or not they want to fund this project or not. So with our first product up there, we're offering our users the ability to invest in a $25,000 loan, essentially crowdfunding a loan for these fix and flippers, or just renovators in general. So these come with pretty competitive returns on the investment from a user perspective, and they're pretty competitive for borrowers as well. So like right now with the S&P down, like over 15% year to date, and Bitcoin's down over 35% year to date, by investing in a debt deal, you're almost guaranteed. We can't say you're guaranteed, but it's as close as it gets in the investing world, in my opinion, that these borrowers, when they borrow from our platform, they're putting up the asset as collateral. So they enter a first lien position, basically stating, if they are unable to pay back the loan to our users, then we get the property and we sell it. So our users get paid back. So that really makes it, very competitive in a bear market, especially. So like right now with the conditions of the market, I don't know when this podcast will launch, but 10% returns in 6 months right now sound pretty phenomenal.
Totally. Yeah, exactly. I totally agree with that. And I mean, a lot of really super high net worth individuals are being hard money lenders in this market because it's a short time horizon, right? So you're only locked into this deal for the length of the flip, which could be 6 months, 4 months or whatnot. And you get a 10% interest rate, like a 10% return, which is obviously really good. It also allows you to redeploy your capital in a market when maybe real estate prices have dropped, and you can go join the equity side, which is obviously a longer term hold than a fix and flip. So now someone like you and me who might not have a ton of money to, someone who has $1 million can loan $25,000, and that would be a tiny part of their portfolio, and they could still be very diversified. If we were to give $25,000 to someone, that would be a much larger part of a portfolio. So it's not practical diversification. But if you can invest a fraction, like if I could put in $100, then that would be like the same proportion as $25,000 to someone who has $1 million theoretically. So it allows you to get that same thought process as the most sophisticated investors, but in proportion to what you actually can do, which is, I think that's the key. All right, you guys ready for the lightning round?
Oh yeah.
Sweet. So if you could have any superpower, what would you choose? Let's start with Zach.
Just being able to know everything as a superpower, just being the all-knowing kind of superpower, I think would probably be the most useful.
Yeah, awesome.
I mean, that's kind of fair. I already have a superpower, so I would probably want the superpower to have the ability to always know the right thing to say.
That's pretty
I
awesome.
feel like that would be a win for me.
Hey, that's one you might be
Yeah.
able to develop.
Yeah, I'm on
while
the same
here.
page as you, Sean.
Awesome. So what's each of your favorite books, or what's the one that's helped you the most?
I'd say recently, one that comes to mind. I actually got two that come to mind that I've really enjoyed recently, but one more geared to the marketing end is Simon Sinek's Start With Why. That it really dives into the limbic system of the human brain and the emotional responses on marketing and why people make the decisions that they do. So I found that very helpful for me in my professional career. And then just another one that I've really liked recently is Ray Dalio's. I'm drawing a blank on the name of the book, but it's the Changing World Order, where it basically talks about the cycles of world reserve currencies over the last 500 years. And it really does a great job at looking back at history to predict what's going to happen in the future, because these cycles of reserve currencies and the 100-year cycle that tends to happen throughout history is well documented. So I definitely would recommend those two books, and to anybody that's interested in learning about those two things.
Yeah, awesome.
Yeah, I would have to probably say Rich Dad Poor Dad and Richest Man in Babylon.
Awesome. Those are two popular ones on the podcast, so good to hear. And yeah, I know the Ray Dalio's book's it sounds really interesting. I'm gonna have to check it out. I know Mark Moss is a big fan of that one. So awesome. What motivates you guys to continue every day?
For me, it's just making an impact on the world, making it a better place than it was when I got here is really my main mission in life. So I think the more impact I can have in a positive manner, the more fulfillment I have as an individual. So that's what keeps me driving every day. And just realizing that, I came from a background that couldn't necessarily start investing in real estate off the bat. So for Pocket Properties, being able to provide a platform that gives people like myself an opportunity to, build generational wealth and is really important to me. So
Awesome.
For me, I mean, I get more of a thrill out of real estate than I do anything else. I mean, there's a certain level of adrenaline that comes with it, and I don't know if I can quite quit that.
Awesome. Yeah, that's fair, definitely. So what advice would you give to someone who wants to follow in your footsteps?
Ooh, that's a good one. So someone that follows in my footsteps, well, I learned by making mistakes a lot of times. So I don't know if that's the best advice, just to go out there and do it and, make those mistakes and learn from them. But I'd say that, success doesn't happen overnight, and you just stick with it. If you're passionate about what you're doing, stick with it, and, the fruits of your labor will come.
Awesome.
It's not bad advice. I think, what was it? What's his name that figured out there's 8,000 ways not to invent a light bulb?
Right. Yeah, definitely.
Is it Graham Bell or?
Yeah, there's something to say for process of elimination, because yeah, maybe this is not, you try something, maybe that's not what you want, but it's not what you want, which is one step closer to knowing what you want. And I definitely think it's important to at least take action. If you don't know what you want to do, figure out what you don't want to do, and eventually you get there. So awesome. So
Sorry, yeah. For me, real quick, I mean, to follow my footsteps, I mean, just real estate in a whole, I think starting with wholesaling is the best way to get into real estate. I mean, 90% of everything you need to know about real estate, you can learn from wholesaling, right? It's not expensive. It's usually done little to no money. So
right, you don't need to put up any capital. You just have to sign the contract before you close. So
that's it.
Awesome. So since I put you on the spot, I'm going to give you a chance for revenge. So please ask me any question you want to know about me.
How did you get involved in real estate would be my question for you.
Yeah, awesome. So I've always been the entrepreneurial kid, like the shoveling snow, raking leaves since I was, in kindergarten. And and then when I first learned about the stock market, I was thinking about, wow, like to invest your money and like, put it in a company and watch it grow while, what you do the work on the front end and then invest it into like things that you believe in and, you're able to grow wealth and amass some, fortune that allows you the opportunities to do the things that you're passionate about and continue to grow businesses. And I've always loved that spirit. But as I started investing in the stock market probably 8 years ago when I was like 12 or whatnot, I spent a lot of time. I was like, wait a minute, like I want to be the person who adds the value to my investment. And like, yeah, I think Apple's a great company, but like I can't call up Tim Cook and say like, what's going on? Like, what you doing with my money? But if like I'm the one who's doing the investments, or if I'm even investing passively with someone who I know, like, and trust, I'm much closer to the asset. And then that's the first thing that was like, wow, real estate's really cool. And then started digging down digging into real estate. I'm realizing, wow, like you get cash flow every month, like you get checks. And then at the end of the day, when you want to retire, you don't sell your stock and then spend the money that you invested. Actually, the investment is paying you and you're living off the income from that investment. So it's like, wait, it's kind of like a job, but you don't have to do any work. You have to do the work to find the property on the front end. And then also you got to do the work on the front end, add the value to your investment, and then it, create more value, create a better product. And then you have even more cash flow. And I just, the whole concept of, being able to do the work on the front end to create the freedom and the life that I want for myself and my family and the investors who I want to serve on the back end. That's something that I found to be tremendously powerful and aligns with all my goals and what I want to offer to the world and to the people I serve.
Yeah, nice. Yeah, the lights cut off on me.
I kind of felt weird about my question. I was just anxious to know what your superpower would be.
Oh yeah, it's a good one. I like super speed. I just think it'd be so. I mean, a lot of people say flying so they can get around real fast, but I just think like I've always kind of like liked being like the fast kid on whatever team I'm on. Like I love that, like, and I just like the idea of like, yeah, it's like moving really fast, like using my body to like the full potential. And like I think super speed is like a super awesome, be super awesome. I'm also like a productivity junkie, so I'm like the travel, like, yeah, I'm about the journey. Well, like sometimes the travel time, if I could just cut out the travel time, get to my destination, that'd be cool. So definitely like that, the idea of a super speed where I can, juggle all my responsibilities real quick and then cut out that travel time.
Yeah, I love it. I got actually one more for you. This is what's your favorite poster on the wall behind you?
Awesome. So I'm glad you asked. These are actually the centerpieces from my bar mitzvah. I was my bar mitzvah's theme was a jam band concert festival, and so each table had a different band, and then that's how you knew where you're supposed to sit. So to pick a favorite, I mean, the reason they're on my wall is because they are my favorites. But I can talk about a couple. So I mean, let's talk about the Red Hot Chili Peppers. I went to Jazz Fest a couple weeks ago and saw the Red Hot Chili Peppers for the first time since I saw them 21 years ago when I was a fetus. My mom actually went to a concert, Red Hot Chili Peppers concert. And so they've been killing the stage for the last 21 years. I finally got to see them while, being a person. And they were incredible. They have a new album. They blew me away. And so, yeah, I love the Red Hot Chili Peppers. And let's give a shout out to our dude Bob Marley and Sublime. I love them too.
Yeah, those are all bands I really enjoy as well. Yeah, and it says something about the productivity to be able to do something well for 21 plus years.
Right.
So,
and they came with they're terrific. They came out with a new album, and it's just as good as anything they've ever come out with. They're just some really talented, passionate people.
Yeah.
Awesome. Well, guys, it's been an absolute pleasure to have you guys on. It's awesome that I caught you guys early. That we get a sneak peek at what is to be an amazing product for the world and for people like you and me and anyone listening to this. So how can people find out more about Pocket Properties, and if they want to check out your beta or even start seeing how this can work in their portfolio, where can they find you?
Yeah, you can go to pocketpropertiesapp.com, or you can just type in Pocket Properties on Google. We'll be the first one that comes up. Definitely go sign up for our beta platform and check it out. Tell us what you think. Give us some feedback. And we also have a podcast where we like to interview people like yourself as well. And check that out as well. It's on YouTube. You can type in Pocket Properties. We'll come up on there as well. but yeah, definitely check out the beta platform, start investing, get that 10% return, and beat the stock market for the foreseeable future, at least. So
Awesome. I love it. Well, it's been a pleasure to have you guys on again, and everyone keep making milestones. Thank you.